Welcome back to That Handicapping Show at bloodhorse.com. I'm Tom LaMarra, joined again by Pete Denk. We'll take a break from the 3-year-olds this weekend. We'll be looking at some older horses running on the dirt primarily and then also on the turf. Both races at Gulfstream Park. Featured race, the 1 1/8 mile Donn Handicap, $500,000. A mile and an eighth. The first major race for the older horse division. Drew a field of 10 in a pretty good field. Not an easy race to handicap, although Pete seems to believe that we have a pretty good standout here in this race. Pace could be a big factor in this race, but my personal experience is whenever I expect a fast pace at Gulfstream, everybody takes back. So I'm going to let Pete talk about who he likes and how he sees the race may be shaping up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of pace in here. That's happening more on the turf than the dirt, but
yeah.
You know, one of the ways that I think you can almost ensure a fast pace in a race is stretching out speed. And we have that in this race in Graydar, the lightly raced unbridled song colt trained by Todd Pletcher. I guess he's run 3 one-turn miles in his life, all of them fairly fast fraction races, and he's not the only speed in here. We've got Ultimate Eagle coming in from California, just about outside of him, and then a couple horses with pressing speed like Casaba and Take Charge Indy. So, and even Citrus Kid on the outside, I'm not sure what he's going to do from the 10-hole, but there looks to be plenty of speed in here.
Yeah.
Just naturally, I don't see how this race could have too slow of a pace. You mentioned that I thought there was a standout. I don't know. I mean, this isn't a creative opinion, I don't think, but
that's okay.
But flat out's a legitimate Grade 1 older handicap horse, and he carries the the race record and speed figures that you would expect from that. I don't know that there's another horse in here that can lay that claim. If I'm trying to beat flat out, I think the bet is that I don't think he's ready, because I think on his race, I think he's going to be extremely tough to beat here. Someone else would have to jump forward 5 lengths to beat him, I think. And looking at this workout pattern, it looks really good. Bill Mott, he did a great job bringing Ron the Greek back. We saw a few weeks ago.
Yes, he did.
And now we've got, like you said, what looks like a clockwork workout pattern. It peaks with 2 6-furlong drills in a row. Then he dials them back to 4 furlongs, 49-1, and now he goes into the dawn. It looks like this horse is ready on paper. Obviously it's always tough to judge workouts on paper, but I do like looking at frequency and just overall patterns. I'm not going to try to say, oh, the 49-1 was fast. I don't know, or I don't know how he did it either. But this looks like a horse that Bill Mott's got ready to fire.
Yeah, we were talking about speed figures, and Flat Out really is a standout in that regard. And we were also talking about whether or not I liked him. He's a horse that's hard not to like, and because of what I think is a class edge and his proven form despite the layoff, he will be in my top 3 for sure. Like you said, it's not a big revelation. Yeah. You just hate to leave out a horse like this. Plus, Mott is having a very good meet at Gulfstream. So we do like Flat Out together. We also like the horse that drew the rail, Bourbon Courage.
Yeah, a progressive. He was getting better late in his 3-year-old campaign for sure. I liked how this horse looked when they stretched him out to 2 turns. I have trip notes of traffic trouble in the Indiana Derby and a little bit in the Clark also.
It was brutal in the Indiana Derby.
Yeah,
sure.
I thought he should have won the Indiana Derby.
So did I.
The race was won by neck and neck, and I thought he ran really well in the Clark. He might have had a little traffic trouble late, but he and Take Charge Indy were right there together, and those two are back in this race. I think both of them are on the upswing, and if you're trying to beat Flat Out, to me, it's one of those two.
I would say so. I think the horse that I will pick on top is Bourbon Courage. I just hope that he's able to find some room at some point in the race. In the Indiana Derby, of course, we watched him get shuffled way back, and he did close for second. The Clark, he had a little bit of trouble, not as much. I think the price will be good. Javier Castellano riding for trainer Kellen Gorder, who had a very good 2012 and is currently having a very good 2013. Won a little stakes last weekend at Turfway with the filly. Shipped him in from Fairgrounds, had a workout on the racetrack, makes his first start on the surface. You like Take Charge Indy. I'm going to throw in Pool Play. With this horse, I have a personal liking for him. But I was really surprised at how well he ran in his first start, 1 turn mile at Gulfstream in January. He almost won the race. Granted, the
Good
last
setup.
yeah, it's a good setup. He's stretching back out. I think if there's any kind of pace war or contested pace in this race, he would be a horse that maybe could crash the ticket. We'll see. That's about it. So,
I think I'm gonna probably look to play exotics here and kind of parlay my opinion on flat out, maybe as a multi-race single, or to key him on top of the exacta, perhaps above Bourbon Courage, and take charge, Indy.
all right, real quick, we're not going to handicap this race, the Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap. Great race to watch. Only 6 horses, but we have the return of Animal Kingdom, second in last year's Breeders' Cup Mile.
Yeah. My favorite horse in training, actually. And
Yes.
he's facing a really good one in Point of Entry. 2 of the more impressive losing efforts we saw at the Breeders' Cup, I think, last fall. Animal Kingdom, just a brutal traffic trip in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Amazing that he was only a length and a half behind Wise Dan. And then Point of Entry, I don't know that he got a troubled trip, but he ran really big in the Breeders' Cup Turf. He came up the rail. He had to wait for room, got a spot or 2 in the race. This is a great matchup. I favor Animal Kingdom at the 9 furlong distance. And I also think this is probably a prep for Point of Entry, whereas Animal Kingdom, Graham Motion's at a point in this horse's career that he knows he's not going to run him a bunch of times in a row. I think he's learned how to train this horse and get him ready off the layoff. It makes sense that he's going to fire a big shot here, and interesting. I love Joel Rosario getting on this horse.
Yes, he actually had a much longer layoff before the Breeders' Cup Mile. Ran lights out. This is a much shorter layoff now. You know, Graham has the key to the horse, how to train him. I would be surprised if he's not ready to roll, and quite frankly, we'll enjoy watching him win. So, those are the Saturday races. We hope that you have a great weekend. You can join us again next week. Once again, we thank Briss for the past performance information. For Pete, I'm Tom. Have a great weekend.